Central Design Institute of the Defense Ministry of Ukraine is a leader among design organizations in this and other East European countries. It has won the national award as the best enterprise of the year. It was the first and only team in the world to develop a unique technology for dismantling intercontinental ballistic missiles and turning silos and launching pads into clean fields and blooming gardens. It is the intellectual cream and glory of the nation and the brightest star in the constellation of European and world design organizations. Its highly intellectual engineering staff is Ukraine's precious treasure. People like them change the face of the planet and enable mankind to reach the space heights. Like the wide Dnipro River or the Amazon, this creative team has its original sources. This is the brief story of our good past and bright future. Day by day, year by year, decade by decade, we have erected a strong building of this unique design workshop, the Central Design Institute. So let's begin the story with a glimpse of the sources and look back through the decades of formation and development, difficulties and achievements. After World War II, the West and the East clashed in the Cold War, the war of new armaments and technologies. Longer, thicker and higher than the Great Chinese Wall, a huge invisible wall of enmity arose between the communist Soviet Union and the capitalist West. And somewhere in the midst of that political whirlwind, a small design organization was set up, the Kyiv branch of the Airfield Engineering Design Department of the USSR Air Force. Very soon, the small team grew in number and gained valuable experience. Our birth certificate is dated October 5, 1949. The prime task was to develop design documents for construction and reconstruction of military airfields in Ukraine, Moldavia, and the Transcaucasian republics. Later, the task area expanded to Belarus, Central Asia, Siberia, and the Far East, and embraced the entire Soviet Union, the then largest country in the world. In several years, along with airfields, the organization began to design aircraft repair plants with test stations and aircraft shelters with dispersion zones. The small team was first housed on the premises of the Air Force Army headquarters on Artema Street in Kyiv, and when its number grew to 30, it moved to Velika Zhytomyrska Street. The team consisted of officers who had graduated from military academies and the Hard School of the Second World War. In 1951, the team was beefed up with graduates of the Możajski Air Force Academy of Leningrad, and in late 1952, the staff counted 50 men who worked in 7 divisions. From 1952 to 1966, the Kyiv Design Organization was headed by Colonel Stepan Nikolaev, an experienced specialist in airfield construction. It was owing to his managerial talent and unique professional capabilities that the organization grew into an institute with a 200-strong staff. In the first decade, between 1949 and 59, The designers basically engaged in developing performance requirements for military airfields that received short and long-range and tactical fighters and bombers of various types. Their great contribution to airfield construction was the design and serial production of reinforced concrete slabs, which significantly reduced the time of construction and improved runways. Parallel to military airfields in Bila Tserkva, Vozian, Jankoy, Melitopol and Stray, they designed the construction and reconstruction of civilian airfields in Odessa, Kyiv and Lviv. Like a child learning to walk, we made our first steps. Very difficult, but very important. We made mistakes and burned our young fingers. We fell and got back on our feet again and walked further on. In the first decade of our biography, we changed our name 5 times and our address 4 times. But even despite frequent structural changes and primitive design tools, our team of creative engineers managed to lay a super strong foundation. Inspired with the post-war euphoria and optimism, our committed predecessors made the first steps and started the professional traditions of our design organization. Stalin's death ended a long, formidable era in the life of the Soviet Union, and the second decade in our institute's biography began with Nikita Khrushchev's notorious speech at the United Nations. The Soviet leader stood up to confront the United States' nuclear monopoly with a loud bang of his shoe on the rostrum and an untranslatable vulgar Russian idiom. His statement was immediately followed by the launch of the first Soviet ICBM, the first satellite, and the first reactor of the first nuclear power plant in the USSR, which demonstrated the Soviet Union's huge intellectual, industrial, and defense potential. In 1955, the Soviet government passed a resolution to build the Baikonur space range in Kazakhstan. The volume of construction works at Baikonur was twice larger than at the Volga hydropower station, but it was built in 2 years thanks to tremendous effort and hard work. The construction of the space range and missile tests predestined the future specialization of our institute. It was a hard school of professional capability and responsibility for many of our colleagues, including Oleg Primachuk, who has headed the institute since 1995. Very soon, the design organization became a leader in the military construction complex of the USSR Defense Ministry. We were trailblazers. We fulfilled our tasks by trial method, but had no right to a single mistake. In 1960, right after the formation of the Strategic Missile Force as an elite force in the USSR, the time terms for building RSD nuclear missile complexes were drastically reduced. By succeeding, preserving and augmenting the unique experience of predecessors, one can keep up with the times and doesn't have to invent the wheel at every new historical stage. It is important to assess and employ at a new technological level the best and most valuable of previous products of research and development. The main thing we inherited is the ability to work and the sense of duty. Everyone in this institute has it. Knowledge and experience are no less important. We also have a rich archive of documents that help us in our design work. Today, the institute can cope with any task related to construction of any buildings. It is like a second home to every member of our team. We want to feel good in this home. The main thing for all of us here is our work, plus enthusiasm and good health. During its second decade, the institute basically worked for missile projects, but it also designed military roads and airfields for the Strategic Air Force, aircraft repair plants, and a target tracing control system for the air defense in the Caucasus, Caspian, and Lower Volga regions. It was engaged in the construction of nuclear ammunition depots. The institute designed the Dynamo swimming pool and the building of the State Archive in Kyiv and health